Once upon a time, in the village of Amuzi, there lived a woman named Abali. Abali was known by everyone for her strange habit of doing everything late. She woke up late every morning, long after the village cocks had crowed and the sun had risen high in the sky. When the villagers had already left for their farms and other daily activities, Abali would just be starting to make her breakfast. She ate her breakfast slowly, enjoying the quiet of the empty village. By the time she finished, it was nearly noon. While others were coming back from the farm, Abali would only be setting out, her hoe and basket in hand. She walked to her farm at a leisurely pace, greeting the trees and the birds. She worked on her farm with no sense of hurry, taking breaks to admire the flowers and listen to the chirping of insects. As the sun began to set and the villagers returned home, Abali was still busy in her fields. When darkness finally covered the land, she would pack up her tools and begin her walk home. The path through the forest was dark and full of strange sounds, but Abali was not afraid. One night, as she walked home under the light of the full moon, she heard the roar of a wild animal. It was a leopard prowling through the bushes. Abali stood still, remembering what her grandmother had told her. When you meet a wild animal, do not run, stand still and do not provoke it. The leopard sniffed the air, looked at Abali for a moment, then turned and disappeared into the forest. Another night, as she walked the same path, she saw a faint, glowing figure. It was a wandering ghost, floating silently among the trees. Abali took a deep breath and kept her eyes on the path, walking steadily without looking directly at the ghost. The ghost floated past her and vanished into the night. When Abali finally reached home each night, she would start cooking her supper. The village was quiet with only the sounds of insects and the occasional hoot of an owl. She cooked slowly, enjoying the peace of the night. By the time she finished her meal, it was midnight, and she would go to bed with a full stomach and a contented heart. The villagers often made jokes about Abali's late night habits. "Don't be like Abali," they would say to anyone who arrived late for an event. Despite the jokes, Abali did not change her ways. She enjoyed her quiet late night routine and did not mind being different. One day, something unexpected happened that would change everything for Abali. As she walked through the forest on her way back from the farm, she saw something glimmering in the distance. Abali looked on as the glimmering thing came closer and closer. Her heart pounded in her chest. She decided to hide by the side of the road in the dark, crouching low behind the bush. Soon she began to hear voices, and it was confirmed that they were humans carrying lamps. They stopped right where she was hiding. "We will attack the village in the afternoon, when most of the villagers are away doing their daily businesses," one of them said. "We will take everything and leave nothing behind, and then set their huts on fire. They will have no choice than to flee and leave the land for us to occupy. And if anyone tries to stop us, he or she will meet their end." Their plan was so terrifying that Abali almost shouted in fear, but she covered her mouth and remained silent. Out of fear, she decided to spend the night in the bush, hidden and waiting for the danger to pass. The next morning, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Abali made her way back to the village. People were surprised to see her still returning from the previous day's farm. Instead of going to her house, she went directly to the king's palace and requested to see the king. Luckily, the king quickly responded to her urgent request. With a trembling voice, Abali revealed to the king what she had witnessed in the forest. The king listened carefully and then sent a town crier to announce that everyone should stay indoors while all the youths and men should come to the palace immediately. Once gathered, the king opened up to them about the impending calamity. He ordered them to spread around the whole village to keep guard. He also warned Abali that if her news proved to be false, she would be punished. The men and the youths did as the king instructed, setting up a vigilant watch around the village. Later in the hot afternoon, the enemies came prepared to attack the village. They were allowed to enter, but before they could do anything, the men and the youths surrounded them and commanded them to surrender. The enemies, taken by surprise, were disarmed and taken to the king for proper punishment. The king then called upon Abali to be rewarded. In front of everyone, the king revealed how Abali had uncovered the plot of the enemies. He praised her bravery and quick thinking. To honor her, she was enthroned as the leader of the women in the village. The king also advised her to stop her night movements and try to be punctual and do things at the right time like others. From that day on, Abali took the advice of the king and stopped doing things differently, especially keeping late nights on the farm and at home. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.